the Beatcats, yeah, well, we got together with Joe Rouge, who does We Don't Play Night, and he's been DJing in Bristol for 12 years, he's been doing it for a long time, and he's been writing his own music, much like I have, just to play out when he DJs. He sort of has a few residencies, I DJ virtually every week, and a lot of the times I've probably got 100 tunes over the last 8 years that I've never released. I've just written because I want to play that sort of thing in my DJ set, and it's great because it gives your DJ set a fresh edge. And we kind of met up, and we were sort of looking at each other's back catalogue, and we decided we were doing a similar thing, but we've yet to cut anything out because we get to play it out in front of crowds. Everybody goes mental. It's like it just does its thing. So we met Stitch actually. He came down to Blowpop because he's in the UK for 2 years. He's a big DJ and producer from South Africa. Plays at a lot of the big festivals out there, and he owns a record shop in Port Elizabeth. And he was one of the first people to import UK breaks, sort of way back in the 90s when they were first breakbeat and big beat were sort of taken off and stuff, and he grabbed onto that. And he was so into the scene, he thought, well, I've got to go to the UK to check it out. So I just love talking to people that are enthusiastic. If people are into it and love it, that's it for me. But it's the passion, I think, for it that keeps you going in this game. Yeah, most producers kind of start with the drums, and I think that's definitely an area where we start at. Although sometimes they can change later on in the tune. If we suddenly if you get a wicked bass line, it might swing a bit different. So sometimes it's good to kind of match those two together with the same groove. But normally from the drums up, but we use a variety of softwares. Ableton Live has been been a fantastic thing that's come into sort of popular use at the moment, and that gives you the ability to play any bit of music back at any tempo, at any key, and if you're going up or down 20 BPM, there's virtually no audible artifacts to the music. You virtually hardly hear any changes. But Pro Tools we use a bit, but I suppose our main platform is Logic that we use, and we tend to sort of write things in Ableton and Reason, and I use a lot of hardware as well, because I sort of come from sort of old school reel-to-reel recording. I worked in a studio when I was 18, which was sort of in the very late 80s, and that was all reel-to-reel analog stuff. So coming from there, I really like hardware, and I've got a load of drum machines and groove boxes, and I just like fiddling with them, and you get a little bit of a groove going, or with one element you'll create in there, and it'll just capture your imagination, and then that'll be loaded up into Logic as a sample. And I think a lot of it is, I used to write really heavily sample-based music from old records and things we could find at the charity shops, and it's great to find loops from there. But I think now we kind of make our own samples up and just treat them as though they were samples off a record, but we've actually written that bass line from maybe an old synth or bass player or all sorts. I think it's been said before, and it's probably the most truest thing, is really in music there are no rules. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I love. There's a thing called Albino. That's a great soft synth, and I love Reactor as well, because it's you can get as involved or as uninvolved as you want to, and it's an endless program, especially for effects and things. It's great. Yeah, with Reactor it's lovely just to get a nice effect, and then you can chain your own compressors on it and things like that. I love all the Logic plugins are great. They're amazing. But I said some of my favourite plugins are actually free ones that I've just come across randomly on the internet. Forums are great, for music and stuff, and getting in touch with people and finding out what's going on and what people are using. And you get little buzzies coming up now and again on the internet, and people will say, "Oh, we tried this free drum machine or this free plugin." In fact, I got a free plugin from Future Music, which is called the FM Crusher, and it's a filter with a compressor and a valve distortion thing built in, and it was free on the cover of Future Music, and it is blinding. It's really good. I use that a lot, and it cost me nothing. So I'd take my G5 and I'd take my groove box. As yeah, I've got a Korg ES sampling groove box. It's got a couple of valves in it. And I thought they were quite gimmicky at first, you know, just because everybody likes valves at the moment, kind of flavour of the month, isn't it? But yeah, there's a nice little bit of crispiness there that you hear, especially with bass lines. You get a bit of analog in that digital world. That I mean, it doesn't, you know, I think people exaggerate the value of valves. You know, it is a very subtle difference, but it brings an analog feel to digital stuff that I think balances out the digital world nicely. At the moment, there's this act out called the Siam Mobile Disco, and they've done some really great breaks, very party breaks. I think that my sort of style is real party music. I don't like taking it too serious. You know, it's not a maths exam. You know, everybody's paid 10 quid to come to a club to have a party, so I certainly enjoy myself when I DJ, and I tend to steer away from the techie stuff. So I kind of like anything with it's a bit cheeky and got a funky bass line and stuff. Bootlegs, I love bootlegs because they come in all shapes and sizes. You know, from the atrocious, and I remember hearing a Dolly Parton drum and bass mix, and you know, it almost makes you cringe, but it's funny, you know. And I've given it to people and they keep it on their iPods because it's just a giggle. You know, there's a lot of cool bootlegs going around at the moment. And with the advent of software, people can sit at home and do their own mashups, and it doesn't cost them that much. And the software these days, is up to the quality where it sounds professional, and it is professional. And I get handed CDs just off people a lot. End up some blinding tunes. There's a mate of mine who gave me a Flat Eric bootleg with an old jazz tune sort of bootlegged with it. It's brilliant, and I play that out at Blowpop. It's as good as most of the stuff I buy, and people go mental to it as much as the plump DJ's tunes that I play and things like that. So it's I sort of have favourites from underground bedroom producers to the sort of the obvious A-list DJs and stuff that play. I think it's looking really good. I think the music scene has been very slow to catch on to the digital market, and in a way that's been the music's business's downfall. But it's been the artists kind of like it's been a real threat to all the artists, because in a way it's kind of cut out a lot of the middlemen that were in the industry, and sometimes it came down to one person's decision whether they'd release that tune of yours. Where now you can bypass all that, put your tune up on the internet, and before you know it, you've got 200, 500 people going, "This is brilliant, can they send me a copy?" And it's like, you might have had a knockback from a record label who's gone, your production really isn't up to it, or I don't really like the tune, and then you suddenly find out there's hundreds of people out there that love it. So I think that's probably the best thing that's happened in the music industry. And with the advent of cheap software, you've got loads of people that never before would think about writing music. What once would cost you 20 grand for a pro studio, you can go out now and buy a Dell PC for 400 quid, 300 quid's worth of software, and write stuff as good as some of the best studios in the world. Even if you spend 100 quid getting it mastered, it will sound as good as anybody. So, and that's good because it's brought writing music out to loads of people, and there's tons of people now writing music. And yeah, you've got a lot more rubbish, but you've also got a lot more good stuff. And what that does is it filters through to everybody who writes music, and the people that are writing music go, "Ooh, this is amazing! I've got to up my game to match that." Or you hear stuff that's like, "Oh, I never thought about that before." An Hawaiian riff with a drum and bass tune. You get all these things that the music industry can be quite narrow-minded in its diversity. In the past, major labels sign you because you have a hit single, and then every other record has got to sound like that. Whereas, with the advent of loads of people writing music, you get all sorts of things, things you've never even dreamt of, and that kind of just is good for the whole music business, really, and the whole scene, I think. Yeah, I do. I think there's a lot. I mean, Fingerlicking have been great. They've been. They've DJ'd at Blowpop for a long time, and Stereo 8, who I DJ with, they're signed to Fingerlicking, and you know, those guys have just got a real love for it. You know, they kind of set it up on a shoestring and have been plodding on with it, and you know, and you know, you get disheartened in the game, but it's just good to see, you know, lots of enthusiasm from them boys, and you know, they've got really high production values, and that's really good, because it's, you know, it's quality. You know you get their products, it's going to sound great, it's going to be a good tune, and it's going to be a good tune in your set. You know, you're almost without looking, just because you know they love it, and you know, they're not going to allow anything rubbish to come out of their stable, sort of thing. But you know, I've found that because of the advent of all this latest technology and stuff, the line between, you know, the big boys doing music and, you know, the people doing it at home has really blurred. And you know, there's a lot of underground stuff, especially in Bristol, that's just producing some amazing stuff. That's got some amazing DJs as well. Yeah, you know, I sort of try and embrace it all, I suppose. And I've seen some really good production from people that you know, doing little nights here in Bristol, and it's better than some of the big boy stuff. You know, it's good. So I like to dip into that as well a lot. Like I was saying earlier, I've DJ'd for 8 years at Blowpop, and for those 8 years I've just written music playing my own set, so I end up with a unique set, you know, so everybody goes, oh, you know, knows Doctor Moody's sound. It's different from everybody else's, because I'll maybe have 4 or 5 of my own tunes that I've written, you know, this month to go with whatever I fancy playing. I just found I had this big back catalogue of stuff, and then all my friends around me that I was DJing with, you know, they have a lot of good tunes, and I was just amazed at this amount of talent in Bristol that really wasn't being represented. And you know, and although we've only sort of bitten into the breaks sort of area really, and I'm a big fan of drum and bass as well, and normally breaks and drum and bass don't go together in the industry, but at Blowpop, you know, we have the scratch perverts and they play breaks and drum and bass, and crafty cuts does as well, you know, and the people on the dance floor love it, and so, you know, we decided to sort of, you know, choose that, you know, those areas of the market, and just really pool people's skills that are actually doing it here in Bristol and are not getting represented, or are not, you know, not got shown any interest from labels and things. Yeah, we were just amazed at the talent and wanted to do something about it, you know, give it an outlet really, and you know, my own stuff, you know, there's such a big back catalogue of tunes over the last 8 years that I never thought about releasing, because I got to play them out anyway, you know, the crowds were going mental and stuff, and it was like, well, that's done, you know, it's doing its job, so yeah, I want to write something new. I just love writing music, and it's to me that's you know, that's passion, and then the pleasure comes from seeing people enjoy it, and to me that's I've achieved what I've set out to. So it's yeah, it's just an outlet to put all that out really. The Blowpop crew, I mean, I've DJ'd with them all now for 8 years, and we're all really good friends as well as colleagues. And everybody does their own thing. You know, John does his thing. He did all his dope on plastic stuff, and he's busy now writing. Stereo 8 assigned to Fingerlicking. So everybody has their own projects, but we all kind of muck in and help each other out with what's going on. We have we used to have a studio with Stereo 8. We've just moved out now because they were selling the premises. But you know, we were always in each of the studios, helping each other out with production, you know, showing each other out things we'd learned, you know, from other people, sharing ideas and things. So I don't think there isn't really any direct link, but we all kind of help each other out with it. It's just that we all have our own projects as well as Blowpop. But there's loads of crossover. There's loads of crossover. We're always giving each other, you know, artists that we've heard, you know, have you checked it out, this vocalist or whatever. So there's a lot of moving between everything. Yeah, well, We're at the moment we're concentrating on all the festivals stuff. We're making sure we've got a strong demo that to send out to get some gigs. We play a lot at Ashton Court. That's one of my favourite festivals actually. It's great. You end up with some amazing stuff you've never heard before. You wander into a tent, you see some blinding stuff, and it's like, who are they? I've never heard of that before. It's better than what I paid 15 quid to go and see down at the Academy last week. Just the vibrancy and the atmosphere, and it is really, it's just such a multimedia festival as well. We have the media tent where they show films and people's own movies and visual artwork and installation artwork and stuff. It's just a great festival, and the Big Chill as well. That's on a similar part. It embraces all of media rather than just focusing on music or just bands. It's like, what can we do with visuals and what can we do with artwork, installation artwork? It's kind of I like that kind of thing. But we're just getting our festival stuff out. We've got our new release on the go. We've got a great remix coming from Will White. So that's really exciting. The music business has changed somewhat. It's all a lot of downloads now, we were releasing records is almost a promotional tool. You sort of get your costs back, and you maybe make like 100 quid or so, a few hundred quid. It's never sort of I'm going out and buying a new car type money. It's good to get feedback from artists and stuff, and help as well. So we're just doing that. We've got some. I've been chatting to Phantom Beats as well. They're doing a remix, and the Finger Licking Boys as well. Soul of Man. They're looking at stuff. So there's some exciting things happening. But it's just ploughing on with it really. Keeping the love. Just keep doing it for the reasons that you started doing it, because what you'll find is you'll send out say you gave 100 random people a CD, out of those people you always get 50-50. You'll have 50 people that hate it and 50 people that like it. And so don't be disheartened about people going, I don't like it so much. I've got tunes now. I've got some bootlegs now. I've got Groove Is in the Heart bootleg that I wrote for New Year's Eve at Blowpop, just as a special New Year's Eve sort of tune. It went down mental, brilliant. And I've and recently the Plum DJs have just written a bootleg of it as well. I'm like kicking myself, like I should have got that one out. But it's nice to know that you're there. You're one step ahead and stuff. But I've given that bootleg out to other DJs, and there's a friend of mine who runs a distribution company, and they said, I don't like it, it's rubbish. And it's like, well, hang on, I played it to over 1,000 people at the Academy, and they all went mental, more mental to that than the rest of my set. So it's like, don't be disheartened about what people say, because at the end of the day it's down to the people that are listening to the music. And you find that people in the business sometimes are a little bit, want to hold things to themselves, and if they see good things, they're like, they get scared because maybe it's better than what they're doing, and they think, and so you'll get a lot of knockbacks. Don't be disheartened by it. Just keep doing it for why you started doing it, because you love writing music. And if you do that, it might take a year, it might take 10 years, but somebody will go, this is brilliant, and eventually you'll be able to write music for a living and achieve the goals that you set out to do in the first place. So just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Cool. Hey, thank you very much. Cheers.